Do y'all remember when the New York Yankees looked to be the best team in the league with a 61-23 record earlier this year, followed by what's been one of the biggest collapses of a team in any sport I think I've seen in my lifetime? The Houston Astros are now 6.5 games ahead of the New York Yankees for the number one seed and home field advantage here in the American League. And scouring throughout the American League, I just do not see another team that's going to contest the Astros to go to the World Series out of the AL. Some people are telling me, well, the Seattle Mariners, since they got Luis Castillo, they've been amazing. Julio Rodriguez. Here is the problem with that. The Astros have thoroughly dominated the Seattle Mariners, who are in the Houston Astros division, I might add you. They've obliterated the Seattle Mariners pitching staff and bullpen. The pitching of the Houston Astros has been able to tamper down that offense. Other people are telling me the Baltimore Orioles, and I can agree with you. The Orioles are a very scary team, even for the Astros. And even as an Astros fan, I agree. They're a scary team. But here's my problem with the Orioles. In the playoffs, that inexperienced team, is that rotation going to hold up against some of the best offensively gifted teams in the world, playing at the highest of levels? And I also think the Orioles are just a year or two too early. But I will say this, the Tampa Bay Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays could be some serious competition for the Astros. The Rays, who have a very, very good starting rotation, a good bullpen, and a good enough offense. And then you have the Toronto Blue Jays, who are led by Kevin Gausman and Alek Manoah, and a very stellar and stout offense with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, George Springer, Houston homegrown by the way, Ryan Tapia, and more. I can definitely see the Toronto Blue Jays or the Tampa Bay Rays giving the Astros some run for the money. But I think in the end, what separates those two teams from the Astros for me is, one, the Astros lights out bullpen, and not only how good their starting rotation is, but just how deep it is. There's at least 6 guys in the Astros starting rotation that can go out there and give you 7 innings of one-hit shutout baseball. And it's just not fair to me, because in the playoffs, 2 of those guys have got to go into the pen, and that just makes the Astros bullpen even more lethal. And we're not even talking about the fact that the Houston Astros starting lineup is really starting to hit their stride now. So for me, it'll be the Astros in the American League going to the World Series. Now for the National League. This is where it gets tricky. For me, this is probably the most stacked I've seen the National League in quite some years. Now, don't get me wrong, we've had a couple of good years in the 2010s where the National League was absolutely loaded. It's been a while since we've had it this loaded. There are so many good teams: the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Atlanta Braves, the New York Mets, the St. Louis Cardinals, even the sneaky San Diego Padres, and the dangerous Philadelphia Phillies. There are potentially 6 teams that could come out of the NL and win it all this year. But for me, I had to sit down and think about it, and I was torn between the Atlanta Braves, the New York Mets, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now for me, when I looked at the Atlanta Braves, I started with the starting rotation. It's strong, led by Steven Strider and Max Fried, to go along with the top 7 bullpen in the league and a top 5 offensive team. Look, the Braves, they're no joke. They are a stout team with a lot to like if you're going to pick them for the World Series. But I feel like on the back end of the rotation, especially in the playoffs, it's going to get taken advantage of. And if Max Fried or Steven Strider aren't having their A games and you get a game off one of those 2 guys, it could put the Braves in a serious predicament. Then you swing over to the New York Mets. And look, I've been riding the Mets all year long. I've been saying the combo of Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom is something I do not want to be a part of in any capacity. You complement that with a really good bullpen and the best closer in baseball, Edwin Diaz, you better hope you have the lead whenever he comes in, because if you don't, you're going to lose that game. And they have some really nice pieces on their offense. Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, and Starling Marte. Yeah, the Mets are just about as dangerous as you could get in the NL. And that's not even to mention how good Chris Bassett's been this year. And so when you line up that starting 3 from the Mets rotation, Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, and Chris Bassett, that's a hard 3 for just about any team, regular season or the playoffs, to beat. Jacob deGrom has shown that he is once again the best pitcher in the universe. Max Scherzer has shown that when he's once again, when healthy, a top 15 pitcher in the league. And Chris Bassett, since the All-Star break, has shown he's one of the best pitchers in the league as well. And then finally, you jump over to the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are currently the best team in the league. What's not to like about that starting rotation? Clayton Kershaw, Julio Urias, Tony Gonsolin, Tyler Anderson. And then they have a top 3 bullpen in the league, led by that offense that is just so stout at the top. Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, complemented by guys like Gavin Lux and Will Smith, and even a little bit of a resurgence from Joey Gallo. There is a lot to like about the Los Angeles Dodgers, but here's my worries for the Dodgers. Firstly, Tony Gonsolin's out, and the latest injury report that just came out said he's not able to pitch 100% at the moment, and it's not good news for the Dodgers. To go along with that, Dustin May has not been good since coming back from his Tommy John surgery, and we know what Clayton Kershaw looks like in the playoffs. Secondly, who is the closer on that team? I still don't know who the closer for the Dodgers is, but then again, you don't really need to worry about a closer whenever you're blowing teams out by 6 runs. And finally, their lineup, 1 through 6, is about as stout as it gets, but the bottom 4 in the order kind of worry me. Joey Gallo, Max Muncy, Chris Taylor, and Cody Bellinger, they've been bad all year long. Sure, they've heated up, but then they quickly fizzle out again. It worries me because in the playoffs, what if the top of that lineup starts to get shut down by some of the more elite pitching in the league, like from the Mets? Or if, I knock on wood, because I hope this doesn't happen to any player, one of their top 3 guys in Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, or Trey Turner goes out due to injury. That is a lot of offensive production lost. And I don't know if the Dodgers have enough on their 40-man from any other batter to be able to make up for that, or several other batteries to make up for that loss of production, if it was to happen. And with saying all that about these 3 teams, I'm going to go with the Mets. Look, the Mets to me in a 5 or 7 game series with the starting pitching that they have, it rivals only the Astros. You have 2 guys that are proven to be some of the best pitchers on the planet in Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom. As your 1 and 2 guys, and then you throw in a guy like Chris Bassett who's been lights out basically all year long. Yeah, that's a tough order just for any team, including the Astros or the Dodgers or even the Braves to take on. So what you're going to have is the Houston Astros versus the New York Mets in the World Series to take it all. Guys, I'd love to know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Who are your World Series picks? Who do you have winning it? Would love to know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new, because I have plenty more baseball content like this, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Adios, mis amigos.
Hey, thank you for rocking out tonight. You could be anywhere in the world. You're right here. I got my special guest, Ty Lee, man.
Yeah, we bringing this all from the Keystone State.